Prof, good morning and thank you very much. I see you've released earlier this week results of the latest data research that is coming out. It's not pointing a very pretty picture. In fact, it's entitled Inequality, South Africa's Vanishing Middle Class.
Yes, that's a bit of a provocative title. The middle class is not vanishing, but it's not growing and flourishing as we need it to do in our society. In a sense, a growing middle class is a very visible and important sign of a society that is transforming and that is moving ahead and is creating a very stable group of people that can be forward-looking and thinking about their children and investing in the education of their children and thinking of buying a house and all of those signs that are very important for an inclusive economy, but also important for a society that's moving ahead.
Now, why is the middle class not flourishing?
Well, that's a great question and a hard one, of course. The reason is the economy in some real sense. It always has to be the economy and employment creation, as we know from our president and from everybody. And so obviously the weight of employment creation is not enough, but there's many more reasons. It's a social project. So for South Africa to flourish is not just about job creation in a narrow sense. It's about our citizenry being equipped with the quality of education that enables them to integrate into an economy. So somebody's not necessarily creating jobs, and our young people don't expect jobs to be created for them all the time. They're very engaged and quite willing to do things for themselves, but they need to be equipped with the education that they need and etc. So on the one hand, on the way, as economists would put it, on the demand for labor side, we aren't creating enough jobs, but in another sense, we're not creating the conditions for households and good parents and engaged youth to actually get on and make the most, create the society. It's not just about job creation.
Okay, and overall, in terms of your research, and from what I've seen, you've got that new paper called Snakes and Ladders and the Loaded Dice, Poverty Dynamics and Inequality in South Africa over the period 2008 to 2017. Overall, you found that poverty in South Africa is actually more pervasive than previously thought. So we have a huge challenge ahead of us.
Yes, exactly. And I think the particular contribution of that work was to show actually that if you look at poverty, not just as a static thing, how many people are above and below poverty line, but as a dynamic thing of vulnerability and people worrying about falling into poverty if they lose a job, or people trying to escape poverty but really battling. That is the lot of many South Africans, many more than you just measure as being poor in a given period, are not poor in this current time period, but are worrying a lot and feeling very vulnerable in the contemporary South Africa. They're not forward-looking. They're not able to plot a path for themselves because they're just full of the anxiety of getting by. And yeah.
Okay, Prof, and as we conclude very briefly, one of the statements that has come from you and your fellow researchers is that the legacies of apartheid, particularly in rural South Africa, are still deeply felt today.
Yes, that's true. And in rural South Africa, because of the assets that people have to work with to get by as a citizenry, but also in urban areas. If you think about the failures of our public transport system, that has huge implications for people in their everyday life. And that's what the point of the paper is about, that we need to try and provide the environment that allows people to achieve what they want to achieve.
Thank you very much. Professor Marie Leibrand from the University of Cape Town.